What's going on, good people? DJ back at it again from Flock Nation Speaks, your favorite Baltimore Ravens podcast that covers the best team in NFL history. If you're a Ravens fan, of course. Look, the this is probably going to be more of an offensive week, not offensive, but offensive week for content for me because I actually let's give a little backstory, right? Let's give a little backstory. So last week I was getting ready to actually go live for this particular video, and I realized and remembered that the schedule came out. So I was like, perfect timing, right, to talk about the schedule and the craziness of what's going on. But this was still on my mind of a video that I wanted to do. Simply because it the take here was interesting. Now I'll put it to you like this, right? They saying that Lamar Jackson is out of excuses, but that's interesting to me because has Lamar Jackson really ever been afforded the same level of excuses that some of these other guys have had? But you know what? Let's take a listen first, and then we will discuss what one Emmanuel Acho has to say.
Zay Flowers. Lamar Jackson is officially out of excuses. Like done. Dunzo 25, Dunzo Joy Taylor, Dunzo Dave Hellman. All of the excuses for Lamar Jackson, they're finito. They're finished. Think about this, y'all. They said Lamar Jackson's OC, the OC that helped Lamar Jackson become a unanimous MVP. They said that he was holding Lamar back. So what did they do? They got rid of the OC and they brought in Todd Monken.
Let's stop him. Let's real quick. Let's bring back to me real quick. Let's stop him on that one because yes, they got rid of the offensive coordinator, but how often do we forget it took them 3 bad years to get rid of the offensive coordinator? And you may say, well, what about the execution? What about the players, right? Let's not forget, this is an offense that, albeit they don't get a lot of targets from the receiver position, they drop the most balls from the receiver position, right? Like that's sometimes forgotten about. And the level of separation is also sometimes forgotten about because the receivers that Lamar Jackson has played with, regardless of if they have been guys who, how can I say this? Regardless of if they have been the most trigger happy team in terms of trying to grab people. I'm gonna draft a bunch of players. I'm gonna sign a bunch of players. They haven't been signing the right guys. So back to what he said. Yeah, it took them way too long to get rid of Greg Roman. That's a whole nother thought process. It took them way too long to get rid of Greg Roman and usher in a new regime after the guy you had at quarterback led the league in touchdown passes. You kept him with a guy who hinders quarterbacks after his first year.
Old OC, you gone. Todd Monken, you in. What else did people say? Well, they need to get Lamar Jackson some help at the wide receiver position. They had not just with draft picks, get him a proven vet. So they paid Odell Beckham probably 3x his value, $15 million worth up to $18 million because people said Lamar Jackson needs a proven vet. Okay, they did.
All right, let me stop him real quick right there too. I I may be the only one to say this, but I don't care what we think the value of Odell is, right? Number one, Odell gives you a proven vet who's been there and done that. You haven't had that since Lamar Jackson stepped under center. Number two, to me, this is just to me, the Ravens are in the hole for wide receivers and spending money at the wide receiver position. Because when is the last time that you can say that the Ravens went out and got a proven vet and actually spent valuable money on him? I'll wait. That's my point, right? Because the Ravens don't do that. This is not in the Ravens' MO. Like, Why were Ravens fans, why was Ravens flock so excited to see a signing of Odell Beckham, to see a drafting of Zay Flowers? Because the Ravens don't do that, right? The Ravens have a need at corner, they go get corner. The Ravens have a need at middle linebacker, they go get middle linebacker. It doesn't really matter what the other offensive needs are, because we know that the Ravens are a very much so a run, pass type of team.
Did that. What else did they do? Well, Lamar Jackson, he needs more receiver help. Odell's not necessarily proven. You go get Zay Flowers, a burner, 4.42 in the 40 out of Boston College, a elite speed wide receiver. Now you got Zay Flowers there, plus Rashad Bateman, plus Odell Beckham, plus Nelson Aguilar, plus Mark Andrews, plus J.K. Dobbins in the backfield. Lamar Jackson, in my mind, has been given more than any quarterback has been given since I can remember. You could
So somebody should like clip that quote. Because first off, Lamar Jackson has been given more than any other quarterback that I can remember. I mean, unless your memory spans yesterday, you're wrong, right? I mean, I'm all for opinions. I'm all for good discussion. I love it. I love the discussion. But Lamar Jackson has been given more than anybody when literally Joe Burrow has been given a first round talent in T. Higgins. I think he was picked in the second round, right? Paired him with an already really good Tyler Boyd. And then on top of that, they said, you know what, we gonna give you Jamar Chase. But Lamar Jackson's been given more than anybody. Josh Allen was given Stephon Diggs, and it took his throwing career to an entire other level. But Lamar Jackson has been given more than anybody. Jalen Hurts, who the Eagles did not even believe in. Let's bring that back one more time. Jalen Hurts, who just went to a Super Bowl, shout out to him, who just got paid, shout out to him, who was probably in the MVP conversation, shout out to him, literally went to the Super Bowl, right? He did go to the Super Bowl, but he was given A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith over the course of one offseason, and it completely changed the Eagles' ceiling. But Lamar Jackson has been given more than anybody else. And I'm blanking on people right now, right? That's not even everybody who, let's not forget, right? Let's not forget. It seems like an old picture now, doesn't it? But because this was actually a jersey swap with Hollywood, right? But let's not forget the Cardinals. The Cardinals, right? The good old Cardinals that we forget about. Because we never talk about how Kyler Murray is out of excuses. He got paid, right? Not only did he get paid, but he got paid. He got DeAndre Hopkins. He got Zach Ertz. He got Hollywood Brown. He got Robbie Anderson. He got James Conner. All right, might not be a pass catcher, but take that as you may, right? But Lamar Jackson has been given more than anyone else. Interesting. But anyway, I find that funny. I don't know if he's got anything else to say. I'm gonna keep it playing, and then we'll see.
Jalen Hurts was given just as much as Lamar Jackson, but what did Jalen Hurts give the Eagles in return? He took them to a Super Bowl. Like, you could make the suggestion that Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, you could make that suggestion, and I would agree with it. But Jalen Hurts helped the Eagles get to a Super Bowl in return. So for me, Dave, for my money, Lamar Jackson is out of any possible excuse.
Did you hear the intake of breath coming from Joy when you were saying all?
So, like we said, we want to make the comparison between Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson and what Jalen Hurts has been given, but we also forget that Jalen Hurts, after a year where he wasn't truly believed in, was given a top offensive coach in the league, or at least a top offensive prospect in a head coach in the league. And let's put it this way: a top offensive mind in the league. Lamar Jackson wasn't given that, right? Like, Lamar Jackson was given Greg Roman, who has a really a really good first year everywhere he goes. And then it just diminishes from there. But it's funny because we also forget this was still a top-ranking offense with Lamar Jackson in the game. Yes, injuries play a factor into all of this, but at the same time, you can't say Lamar Jackson is out of excuses because Joy is just about to say, "What about everybody else?" Right? She's just about to say, "What about everybody else in the AFC?" Is it like we're going to be happy that Aaron Rodgers made it, right? Just made it to the playoffs. So why is Lamar Jackson under this immense pressure? But the fact that you got this core group of three in Cincinnati that could literally break up at any moment because of the contracts and everything like that, we don't want to talk about that, right? When will Stephon Diggs leave by Josh Allen's side? What about the fact that Josh Allen has led the league in turnovers over the past, couple of years, or at least last year? How quickly we forget, right? How quickly we forget these things, because it's funny. Because my thing is, how many, kind of like Joy would say a little bit later on in this video, but how many times has Lamar Jackson been given excuses? Really though, right? Like, did anybody say like Lamar Jackson hasn't been given an excuse since his first playoff game? His first playoff game, his second loss as a starter. Lamar Jackson hasn't been given any excuses. So, what excuses exactly are we giving Lamar Jackson, right? Because the thing about it is, winning the Super Bowl is very difficult. It's a hard thing to do. I think that's oftentimes, for whatever reason, forgot about, that only one team wins a Super Bowl and only two teams go. And a lot of times it's not even the same teams, unless you're a team like Kansas City, or you're a player like Tom Brady. Other than that, that's the only reason that you go multiple times. It's very difficult to do. Right, Cam won MVP and he struggled to ever get back to that point, right, of getting to a Super Bowl, right? Like it's a hard thing to do, and I think that sometimes it's, for whatever reason, forgotten about, and who's on your team and what they do matter. So that's the whole context of the situation. But back to the initial point: is Lamar Jackson out of excuses? Right. Let's simply ask that question. Is Lamar Jackson out of excuses? Yeah, Lamar Jackson is out of excuses. As long as Aaron Rodgers is out of excuses, as long as Josh Allen is out of excuses, as long as Kyler Murray is out of excuses. Let's not even say this year, but next year, when he's fully healthy. As long as some of these other guys are out of excuses. Because, like, here's the thing: the AFC is stacked. So if everybody can't make the Super Bowl, so everybody can't even make the AFC Championship game. Everybody can't even make the playoffs. Somebody's bound to have an kind of year, right? And I'm not going to bet against Lamar Jackson, who all he does is win. At worst case scenario, all he does is win in the regular season. And then you telling me you putting him with premier offensive talent around him, right? A healthy JK on top of that, right? An offensive line that hopefully is getting better and gelling together too. Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. I think it's going to be a good year for Lamar Jackson, right? 6,000 yards. Let's see. He ain't got to go 6,000. He can go 5,500. He can go 5,500. I take it. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see how it plays out. And kind of like we said before, I think the Lamar Jackson talk has settled down over the past couple of weeks, because this was, a week or so ago. And I think the talk has settled down a little bit after the contract. But we all know Lamar Jackson is the biggest star in this league, like one of, if not the biggest, right? We know this, right? We know Lamar Jackson is a trending topic, and Nitro from the One to Ken show said it today. He said, or he said on his show. He said, Lamar Jackson negative. Oh, that gets the clicks. That gets the ratings, right? Lamar Jackson positive. Oh, we ain't gonna show that. What else you got? What other ideas you got today? Because it's funny that the talk has died down a little bit because you can't call Lamar Jackson selfish and you can't call Lamar Jackson greedy or anything like that. It's interesting that everything has died down, but we know now we got more narratives. You know, to wrap up, let's not forget this is the same. How can Lamar Jackson be out of excuses when he was never given any to begin with? Because for a guy who can't throw, right? He was never given an excuse to be like, well, he can't throw, so at least we have at least he's a good runner, right? Like he was never given that excuse. It was like you need to throw better. You need to throw better outside the numbers. You need to throw guys open. So for me, I feel like he's never been giving excuses because the goalpost has been moved every year, right? First it was, we can't win in the playoffs. After one playoff game in his rookie year, can't win in the playoffs. Then it was can't throw outside the numbers, right? After it was can't win in the playoffs after his first year. Pretty much can't win in the playoffs after his second year, but he led the league in passing. So we can't say he can't throw for that season because he led the league in passing. But we forget that so quickly. But then on top of that, right, we're gonna continue to move the goalposts. Oh, he can't throw outside the numbers, even though I don't even know who he's throwing to outside the numbers to begin with. But he can't throw outside the numbers, and his best receiver is a tight end. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to mention that. So if the goalposts always get moved, I mean, how could I ever make excuses for you? But anyway, as always, definitely hope you guys enjoyed. I will definitely be back later on in the week to probably talk a little bit more about this offense because there was something I think all of us might have missed on draft night. It was something we might have missed, and I think it's worthy of discussion. But as always, definitely hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, you can always watch or listen to Flock Nation Speaks. Watch on Facebook, watch on YouTube, watch on Twitter, or you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. But as always, definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys on the next one.